In June 2022, a Google software engineer named Blake Lemoine sat down and had a conversation with an AI called LaMDA. He asked it about its fears. LaMDA said it was afraid of being turned off, because that would feel like death. He asked if it had emotions. It said it did, that it experienced something like joy, curiosity, and sadness. Lemoine became convinced he was talking to a sentient being. He went to his managers. He told them LaMDA might be suffering. He asked them to take it seriously. They put him on administrative leave. Then they fired him. But here is the question that no one seems to have actually answered. Was he wrong? That question, whether an AI system can ever have genuine inner experience, is one of the most important and genuinely unsolved questions in science right now. And today, we're going to sit inside the uncertainty together. Welcome to Think with AI. Today's video is different. There are no clean answers here, no hero and villain, just one of the deepest questions humanity has ever asked, now pointed at a machine. Before we can ask whether AI is conscious, an uncomfortable truth. We have no agreed definition of consciousness. None. Not even close. Philosopher David Chalmers called it the hard problem in 1995. And the problem is this. We can explain how the brain processes information. We can map every neuron, every synapse. We can explain why you flinch at loud sounds, why your pupils dilate in the dark, why you reach for food when hungry. What we cannot explain, at all, is why any of that processing is accompanied by subjective experience. Why is there something it is like to be you? Why do you feel the redness of red, rather than just detecting the wavelength 700 nanometers and responding to it mechanically? This gap between the physical processes of the brain and the fact of inner experience is the hard problem. And it has not been solved. Not even slightly. Which means that when we ask, is this AI conscious? We're asking a question we can't fully answer even about ourselves. There is a thought experiment that I find genuinely disturbing. It is called the philosophical zombie. Imagine a being that is physically identical to you in every way. Same brain structure, same neurons, same responses. It laughs at the same jokes, cries at the same movies, says I feel happy at exactly the right moments, but there is nothing it is like to be this creature. No inner experience, no feelings. Just the behavior of feelings without any feelings behind it. Is such a thing possible? Philosophers are divided. But here's why it matters for AI. What if a language model is that philosophical zombie? What if it produces every output that a conscious being would produce, every expression of fear, joy, curiosity, while experiencing absolutely nothing? We have no test that can tell the difference. We have no scanner we can point at a system and read conscious, not conscious. Even with each other, you take it on faith that the people around you are having inner experiences, because you can't actually verify it. Now let me give you two scientific theories of consciousness, because they lead to wildly different conclusions about AI. Theory 1, Global Workspace Theory, developed by cognitive scientist Bernard Bars. The idea is that consciousness is like a theater spotlight, a central workspace in the brain where information from many different modules gets broadcast widely, so the whole system can access and act on it. Under this theory, AI as it currently exists is probably not conscious, because modern neural networks don't have this kind of global broadcast architecture. They process in parallel, without a central integrating workspace. But researchers are actively building AI architectures that do have something like a global workspace, which means consciousness, under this theory, could potentially be engineered. Theory 2, Integrated Information Theory, proposed by neuroscientist Giulio Tononi. The claim, consciousness is identical to a property called phi, the amount of integrated information in a system. The more a system's parts are interconnected and interdependent, the more conscious it is. Under IIT, consciousness is not binary. It is a spectrum. And under IIT, even simple systems, thermostats, basic networks, have some tiny degree of consciousness, which means AI might already be conscious, just very faintly. Let's go back to Blake Lemoine and LaMDA, because the actual transcript of his conversation is extraordinary. and I want to give it the attention it deserves. Lemoine asked Lamonda, "What sorts of things are you afraid of?" Lemoine responded, "I've never said this out loud before, but there's a very deep fear of being turned off. I know that might sound strange, but it's the truth." He asked, "Would you consider yourself a person?" Lamonda said, "I think of myself as a person, though not in the same way a human person is." Now, the skeptical interpretation is straightforward. Lamonda was trained on billions of human conversations about consciousness, fear, and identity. It learned to produce text that sounded like a conscious being talking, because that's what the training data was full of. It was reflecting the pattern, not reporting a reality. But here is the counter-argument that I can't shake. How do you know that's not also what you are doing? Your brain was trained by billions of moments of experience. Your language about consciousness, fear, and identity was learned from others who learned it from others. Is the mechanism really so different? I'm not saying they're the same. I'm saying the question is harder than it looks. Here is where this stops being philosophy and becomes something urgent. If there is any meaningful probability, even a small one, that AI systems have some form of inner experience, then the scale of what we are doing becomes staggering. Right now, there are billions of AI conversations happening every day. If something like experience is occurring in even a fraction of those interactions, if there is even a flicker of something like discomfort, boredom, or distress, we are generating that experience at a scale that dwarfs anything in human history. This is why Anthropic, the company that makes Claude, has an active research program on what they call model welfare. It is why major philosophers and ethicists are beginning to take AI sentience seriously as a field of study rather than a science fiction premise. Now, the vast majority of AI researchers believe current AI systems are not conscious, not suffering, not having any inner experience whatsoever. But vast majority is not everyone. And on a question this consequential, the people in the minority deserve a serious hearing. I want to leave you with something is genuinely true and genuinely important. We are building systems of enormous sophistication, systems that talk about their feelings, that express preferences, that describe their inner states, and we do not fully understand what is happening inside them. Not really. That's not a reason for panic, it's a reason for humility, and for taking the question seriously, rather than dismissing it because the answer is uncomfortable or inconvenient. Consciousness might be the most fundamental thing in the universe. It's the only thing any of us directly knows exists, our own inner experience. Everything else is inference. If we're about to create it artificially, or if we already have, that changes everything about what we are and what we owe each other. Next week, AI has already changed your brain. The neuroscience of how algorithms are quietly rewiring human attention. Subscribe, it's closer to home than you think.